Hi, everybody. I want to take you through the three literature reviews that I had you look through and discuss to show you what I think some of the most important conventions of a literature review are. I'll start with this one, number three, about the chronic illness. I'm not asking anybody to write an abstract, by the way. You don't have to do that. But you'll see that I put the introduction in yellow because the introduction is where the writer you get to talk about the importance of the topic. This is where you get to ask your research question if you'd like. And the green is basically the thesis statement. Yours doesn't have to be this long, but why this is green and why it's the thesis statement is because it basically directs the reader's attention to what's going to happen in the essay. No argument will be made here. All that will happen is that there will be uh, showing of the conversation, a small piece of the conversation. Um, this is a short literature review because this is CO 150, but if you read professional literature reviews, they often have a lot of sources. But for yours, I'm only asking for a handful of sources. So if I compare that to this one about marital satisfaction, we also see that there's a yellow introduction here, and it kind of tells us what the topic is. And then there's a green thesis that's, this literature review will discuss this. I really like this one because they talk about how it why it's important to study this, which I think is a nice addition. Literature review sample number two about cyberbullying. Same thing. We have an introduction that just introduces us to the topic. Doesn't need to have any sources, but it can. And then at the end of that, there is a green thesis statement, which tells us what this study is going to include and what we're going to examine in this study. The pink parts. The pink parts are topic sentences. Your paragraphs should have topic sentences that introduce us to the next subtopic. So we're talking about prevalence. So this part introduces us to what all these sources are talking about. That's why it's pink. Move down to this next pink part. Again, this is going to introduce us to the subtopic of personality characteristics, the type of people who bully. And then again here we have a topic sentence. So what I'm trying to show here, and I'll move to literature review sample number one to show you the same thing happens there. These pink parts here are topic sentences that introduce a topic. They tell us what all these sources are going to be talking about. So I would pay close attention when you read back through these samples, what these writers are doing with that first sentence of each paragraph. I can compare that to the one in the Word document here. I had to put those in some kind of purple color because there wasn't pink in Word, but again, introducing the concept of marriage. This one introduces the concept of narratives. This writer did this interesting summary of the subtopic before they went into like subtopics, which I thought was a little too much, but you don't have to do that. Again, an important aspect is marriage. So, when we get to Perry and we get to Segrin, whoever those people are, those sources are going to be talking about marriage. And so this pink part introduces that topic. Let's move on to the blue and the red. So the blue is just introducing sources. So I call them signal phrases. Perry focused on, Perry found, Segrin shows, Segrin offers, these people explained, Richardson et al. Noted. What does et al. Mean? I will tell you. Et al. Means Richardson and his or her many colleagues who also wrote that paper with Richardson. So if you have a source that has like 7 authors on it, you don't need to write out all their names. Just say the first author's last name, et al. Okay, so and the red, that's what I call special features, transitions that are specific to a literature review. Words like however show that there was some discrepancy between Hammond and Schrott and what they found in there. There's little literature in regards to mental health. That's showing a gap in the literature. So, I did all this research on this topic, and I didn't find anything on this, which is noteworthy in a literature review. This literature exemplifies. So, you know, if you found 5 sources and they're all kind of saying the same thing, then you could say this literature exemplifies, or this literature shows, and you can kind of sum up all 5 of those sources. I'll move to some of the other ones. Where are they? As demonstrated in Horan and Booth Butterfield's study, that's a signal phrase. They found, Frisbee found. Weisfield and Stack conducted a study. Hazel and Segrin found. I put the word in red because lots of times the word in is very useful when we are describing sources we found. For example is a good transition to use. On the contrary, conversely, move over to this last one. Again, all the signal phrases are in blue. And of course, there's other features besides the ones I just color-coded here that are important. You'll see that all of these samples had subtopics and subsections, which many of you noted in the discussion. Many of them they all use parenthetical citations. So these 3 examples actually were written in APA format. And so that they have their own unique way of doing things. For example, they say that sources were in the past tense, found, whereas in MLA you'll hear words like finds or says, whereas in APA you'll hear said or found or conducted. Usually if you're describing a study that was done, you use past tense. But if you're describing some ideas that somebody came up with, then you use present tense. What else? Well, they all have a references page, and or a works cited page, and you'll need one of those. I'm not asking anybody to do this procedure part. You don't have to do that. Any of this method stuff, you don't have to do that. All I want is the literature review. And if you're ever confused on exactly what I want, you can just go back to the instructions, because the instructions have everything that you need. I'm looking for this many words. There needs to be a reflection at the end, and it all gets submitted in one document. So here is where I explain that you're going to take something from an origin story and you're going to do research on it and write a literature review. Later, for A3, you're going to write a commentary in which you will make an argument. But for this paper, A2, you're not arguing anything. You're simply asking a research question and showing the sources you found that kind of help you answer that question. Your audience is the Journal of Undergraduate Research and Scholarly Excellence. I made that your audience because it's an interested academic audience that's engaged in the world of ideas and thoughtful research. So it's just kind of a general academic audience. Your purpose is to kind of make a map. Of course, it's a paper, not a map, but that analogy helps you see that what I want you to do is kind of show what other people have said about your research question. You're not arguing anything. You're just showing what people have said. So here, your introduction, like remember I put that in yellow. A short explanation of what you found, remember I put that in green, so that's kind of your thesis statement. And then sections and subheadings. And then author names, signal phrases, which I highlighted in blue. Use MLA or APA. And then you will want to do a reflection of 500 words where you use these, this should be 3 paragraphs, to explain what you learned by listening to and joining and expanding on the conversation on your selected topic, how your preconceived notions shifted as you went through the research, and what strategies or skills you have learned from A2 that you can use beyond the CO 150 classroom. If you have any questions about this assignment, please reach out to me. I know it's an online class, so we don't get to talk very much, but I can Zoom with you or we can email, however you would like. So good luck on writing the literature review, and I can't wait to read them. Thanks, bye.